Hi there, I'm Christy. Welcome to my channel. Today I am participating in the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, or the Three Rivers Challenge. It is a pantry challenge, and I am challenging myself to use up some pumpkins today. So what I did is I roasted up a small pumpkin, and I'm just removing the flesh from the skin, and I'm going to mash this up. This recipe that I'm following, it calls for about 15 ounces of pumpkin, like 1 can of pumpkin. So that's what I did. It also calls for 1 cup of oil. I don't want to use oil today. I wanted to use applesauce. And luckily, I have applesauce that I had freeze dried. Now, if you're making this one like this recipe that I have the link down below, you could use just regular applesauce, but this is what I had, freeze dried applesauce on hand. I really like the idea of using as much of the ingredients that I can grow myself or preserve myself. And so this is the style of baking and cooking that I do. So this was just another opportunity for me to use up this applesauce in this recipe. Also, it was helping me to save on the oil that I have. I like to bake with avocado oil. And the problem of that is that I can't get avocado where I live, or avocado oil where I live. I usually have to drive approximately 3 hours one way to get a bottle of avocado oil. So I just really like having applesauce on hand as a substitute. So basically the recipe calls for I think it was, how much oil? 1 cup. So I used probably just under 1 cup of applesauce, I would say, give or take. And I did use approximately 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. I found this bottle hiding in the back of my cupboard. I had no idea it was there, but I was looking for stuff to use up in this challenge, and there it was. So it was such a happy surprise. So it worked great. I just mixed it up really good. I put the oil and the applesauce in with the pumpkin and just stirred it up really well. And the applesauce did have peels in it, and I don't mind. Chaz didn't mind. It doesn't matter. It's not. We're not entering it into any fairs or anything like that. We're just making it taste good. Chaz just brought in some eggs. My hens did start laying, and one of them was actually still warm from being under a chicken butt. So it was really nice to have eggs again. I'm very much enjoying them laying eggs. This recipe calls for 3 large eggs, but because these eggs are much smaller, with them being really young hens, I used 4 eggs. And so I just beat them up really well in the, no use in making another bowl dirty. I definitely wanted to use up or make less mess as I could. So I just dumped that into the pumpkin mixture and I added some sugar. So I used half of a cup of sugar. Now this is some maple syrup. I had opened it to use it in something else yesterday, and I wanted to use up the rest of the jar. So what it was is I had made, or I grown corn, and when I harvested the corn, I had these corn cobs last year left over. So I made a syrup out of those corn cobs and flavored it with maple syrup. So I'm able to use it in recipes like this, and it worked good as a substitute for sweetener. This was spelt flour. I prefer using spelt flour when I bake with pumpkin, because pumpkin is really good, easy to digest, and so is spelt flour. So that was my way of using it up. This also called for 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I added 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. I really like a nice strong cinnamon flavor. If it was up to me, I would have probably added 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, but some of the other people in my household are not a big fan of cinnamon, like that strong of flavor. I just mixed it up really well. I mean, most of the time a person would put it in a blend or in a beater or like a stand mixer, but to me it didn't really matter as long as there wasn't a lot of lumps in it. One of the things that I've learned is greasing a pan. I like to grease it with butter, so I did that, and then I just poured it into a pan, and it went into the oven. I had the oven preheated at 350 degrees, and it baked for approximately 40 minutes at 350. And that was basically it. It was done. While that was baking, though, I decided to work on some eggs. Now, these were fresh eggs that I had actually hard boiled. Now, I know that there's a technique that you can do this with putting your eggs in the quick cooker, and it works really well. But I actually learned a tip from Serena on You Can't Eat the Grass a while ago, where she was talking about how to hard boil fresh eggs to make them easy to peel. And so basically that's what I did. I used her technique to peel them. Now, in order to do that, you have to wash your eggs really well when you first bring them in, and then you tap them on the counter and make them crack before you boil them. And then once they're boiled, then they're easy to peel. And so that's basically all I did. As you can see, the lines there, it had cracked. I smashed it just ever so lightly before I cooked it. I just tapped it on the counter like that, and it made the bottom part crack, and then I boiled it, and then it makes it easy to get the peel off. So that's what I did yesterday. I had done that because I wanted to make this potato salad today. So yeah, if you have done the eggs in the quick cooker before, I have a Pampered Chef quick cooker. I don't know what settings I have to use, but if you've done in your Instapot or quick cooker, please let me know below in the comments how you do the eggs in that, because I am interested in learning how to do that, and I've kind of just been too lazy to go look it up. I'd rather hear it from somebody who has done it before that I know. Anyway, so I just chopped this up. I am making potato salad, Chaz's favorite salad. I had a bunch of potatoes in my fridge that I had from other meals throughout the week. I don't normally bake potatoes, but I had several baked potatoes because I didn't know what time Tyson was going to be home from work several nights, and it was just easy for me. And then they were just really versatile. I could grab potatoes out and make something quick. But anyway, I just chopped these up into little bite-sized pieces, and, it used up quite a few leftovers out of the fridge. I had other potatoes boiling. I don't normally use baked potatoes in potato salad, but it worked out okay. These are pickles that I had made. So these are homemade pickles. I think this was a jar out of the cucumbers that I had grown, not last year, the year before. So they needed to be used up. They still looked really good, and they were really crunchy. So the pickles were great. It had a great seal on it, so I wasn't too worried. They had a great flavor. So yeah, these were homegrown pickles that I had pickled myself. Another meal of things that I can completely make on my own. These were chives. Usually I would use green onion in this part of the salad. So basically it's just got chives, potatoes, eggs, and pickles in there. I'm just kind of combining it, and then I'm going to make the dressing. So to make the dressing, I used a half of a cup of mayonnaise in here. Now, the best method for this recipe is using homemade mayonnaise, but Hellmann's would work as well. And I'm just adding pickle juice, probably 2 tablespoons of pickle juice, and then about a teaspoon of pepper. It's usually to taste. You have to try it because it's always going to be different. Sometimes your pepper is stronger. Sometimes the pickle juice is stronger. It's always to taste with this recipe. So basically, I just added a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of salt, a couple teaspoons of pickle juice, and a couple pinches of ground yellow mustard. It adds a little bit of flavor. And then I added probably 2 teaspoons of dill, or a heaping teaspoon maybe of dill. I really love dill, so if you haven't noticed, sometimes what I'll do is I will dig down into the bottom of the pickle jar if the pickle jar is almost done, and I will chop up the dill that's been pickled with the pickles into the sauce, and it makes a really nice flavor. So I just basically mixed it up and poured it all over top. I realized that I needed to add salt and pepper. There wasn't enough salt and pepper, so I added some salt and pepper. And I just gave it a really good thorough mix. It's such an easy salad, and it comes together so good. It has to marinate though, so this was earlier in the day. I'd done this early in the afternoon so that we could have this with dinner, but it's always best to usually make this salad the day before. Usually Chaz and Tyson, they ask for me to make it so that they can take it for the week in their lunches. So I just covered it really tightly with some saran wrap and threw it in the fridge. The cake was done. It was perfect timing. By the time I got that done, the cake was ready to come out, and I made Chaz a treat. Just as a parfait with some cream cheese icing.
Okay. Yeah, give the taste test, though.
That tastes good.
Yeah? What do you give it for a score?
Easy 10.
You can't even talk because your mouth is full?
Yeah, easy 10.
Cool.
So now let's see what he thinks of the potato salad.
Oh.
What do you think? Is it good?
It is, yeah.
How many Chaz stars?
Easy 10. Potato salad's probably one of my favorite salads.
Sorry, what's that?
Potato salads are probably one of my favorite salads.
Couldn't tell with your mouth full when you were trying to speak to me. What do you think, Molly? Is it 10? Is it 10? Yeah.
So I served it with some wings, and it was a good dinner. Thanks for watching. I hope you're inspired. Much love.